This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, firefighters work through the night to contain the Saddle Hill blaze. We take a look at some of the damage sustained. Dunedin residents join those who are lobbying the government for more paid parental leave. And staff pitch ideas for improvements to the SDHB, and technology is at the forefront. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. Firefighters are dampening down hotspots on Saddle Hill following yesterday's destructive blaze. They worked all night to contain the fire, which spread quickly in high winds and warm temperatures. But not everyone got away scot-free.
The aftermath of yesterday's extensive fire. This resident is left cleaning up after the blaze tore through his Saddle Hill Road property. It damaged his pool house, shed and surroundings, but his home was spared.
The sparks come up over the hill, burnt all the bush behind us and set the roof on fire, and it's been really horrendous heat, and as you can see the cover's all burnt, all the roofing's fallen into the pool.
He also owns a cattery on Saddle Hill Road and spent yesterday rescuing pets while his home section burned. A cattery staff member was taken to the intensive care unit after serious smoke inhalation, and she's still recovering in hospital. The Balgurley family moved into their new home just 3 days ago, and the untimely fire has had a devastating effect.
Absolutely gut-wrenching. We've worked 7 days a week for 22 years. Basically, we've worked 7 days a week, long hours, and we sort of felt that we deserved this place, and it was going to be really nice because we're going to shift the cattery up here. But yeah, everything's on hold.
Firefighters were out in force all night and the clean-up efforts continuing. The fire's been contained, but authorities aren't taking any chances after several flare-ups overnight.
We have got crews in the fireground dampening down and locating hotspots. We also have 2 diggers working doing perimeter lines, so we've got a fire break between the burnt and the unburnt fuel. So that's our main role today, is to keep it contained within the burnt area. Yeah.
Tomorrow the fire service will use a thermal imaging camera to identify more hotspots. Work will continue for at least 24 hours, but for now the rainy weather is keeping sparks at bay. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
And access to the wider Saddle Hill area is restricted to residents only. Police are still working to verify the authenticity and origin of the mass shooting threat at the University of Otago. Staff and students are being urged to remain vigilant when on campus, despite the threat not coming to fruition. Police are keeping up a strong presence at the university and around the student quarter. They're reassuring those with safety concerns that the university is open for business as usual. Local officers are continuing to work with members of the high-tech crime unit in Wellington to trace the source of the threat. It was made anonymously through social media on Monday night. Other threats have since been made in relation to universities in Wellington and Palmerston North. Locals are lobbying the government for more paid parental leave. They're adding their support to a proposal currently before Parliament, but there's a significant hurdle to overcome.
Meeting to support parents and babies. A small number of locals have gathered to hear Labour MP Sue Moroney talk about her paid parental leave bill, currently before Parliament. It's about extending paid parental leave by another 8 weeks to reach the 6-month mark.
Last time around, this bill had around 4,000 submissions on it, and 99.6% of those were in favour.
The bill's again open to public submissions, having passed its first reading. Paid parental leave will already increase to 18 weeks from next April, but there's a nationwide coalition saying that's not enough.
most families, both parents have to work, in which case, that causes, people to need to seek alternative care for their children, and so we would hope that this would support people to stay home with their children longer.
Every time paid parental leave's extended by 4 weeks, it costs the government an extra $45 million a year. That's not counting the employer's share, and the financial implications are likely to be the biggest hurdle.
Crucially, the government has threatened a financial veto against the bill to stop it in its tracks.
It's believed that babies who spend their first 6 months at home with parents develop better in a range of ways. Bill advocates say spending money up front to allow that will mean less money down the track on health, education and the justice system. That's something other countries are doing better at.
Well, with 16 weeks at the moment, we are 28 out of 34 OECD countries, so we're languishing towards the bottom of the league table.
The bill's got to survive another 3 votes in Parliament if it's to be adopted. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
The owners of a Brockville property are applying to cut down a stand of historic macrocarpa trees. The 6 trees are believed to be about 100 years old. They're on a Brockville Road section alongside an old house, thought to be about the same age. The owners want resource consent to remove all or some of the trees, which are listed by the City Council as being significant. Owners say the trees are preventing them from building a new house on site. They're also worried about falling branches and the trees blocking out sunlight. Residents are able to make submissions on the application before the start of November. The city's medical professionals are dishing out ideas to help improve local health care. The Southern District Health Board has just held an innovation forum with staff invited to pitch new programs, and calls for technology upgrades are dominating the conversation.
A creative approach to medicine. Southern Healthcare staff have been trying to impress during a day-long innovation challenge. Their ideas have been heard by a panel of Southern DHB members and external advisors. They are tasked with awarding funds to top projects.
One of the big trends that we've seen this year is staff coming in and wanting to communicate with the patients better. So the ideas of offering videos for the patients to look at rather than just giving them brochures. So there's probably about 5 or 6 projects that we had that were in that theme, which was really interesting.
One entry on the technology bandwagon is from a couple of physiotherapists. They've been pitching a video for women who have recently given birth. And they say it's important that SDHB listens to staff on the front line.
It's good to have the ability to let them know kind of what's going on and what difficulties we have or how we think we could probably deliver services better as well. Because, as you say, we are doing it every day and we know the frustrations that we have and how we could be doing that better.
In the past, winning ideas have included a smartphone app as well as placemats with information for the elderly. This year, 10 applications for funding have been heard by the panel. The judges have made a decision behind closed doors, which they'll make public in a few weeks.
Had obviously seen the presentations prior to today, so had a bit of a look through them, and then I guess come up with a bit of a score, and then hopefully the presentations which they have, to be fair, have reiterated a lot of the decisions that we're going to make. But it is hard. There's some, as I said, there's been some good presentations, great ideas.
Winners will share a prize pool of $20,000 to help turn their ideas into reality. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we meet the local woman who's been recognised for creating a program for elderly folk, and students celebrate Pride Week with some engaging displays.
Hello, I'm Dougal Stevenson. Welcome to Museum Diaries, the programme where we showcase the rare and wonderful treasures of the Otago Museum, many of which you don't normally see. On the show, we find out about crayfish, wasps and gummy sharks. Scott Reeves brings in weapons from the Indian subcontinent. We discuss the impact introduced mammals have on New Zealand's native wildlife, and we talk preventive conservation with Lisa Yates.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boys store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices is just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew, Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest, Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, you're guaranteed a treat.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
She's 21 metres long with a 6.7 metre beam. She can support diving, seafloor mapping and sampling, deep water measurements, and has onboard laboratories. She has a range of 1,000 nautical miles, which means the Polaris 2 can take your studies further than you ever thought possible. My name's Will Raymond, and this is My Place in the World.
Take your place in the world.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
Big Orange for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook. Opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Mobility Scooters Otago. Mobility Scooters, new and used, electric manual wheelchairs, strollers and walkers. Free home demonstration and delivery. Call Tony on 03 455 2875 or visit our showroom, 211 King Edward Street, opposite Westpac.
Welcome back. The city's rollout of new internet cabling will be completed sooner than expected. Chorus is installing ultra-fast broadband throughout the city as part of the Gigatown prize package. The company has just announced plans to finish the job in December 2017. It says that's almost 2 years ahead of schedule. Every person or business within the ultra-fast broadband footprint should end up with access to the fastest internet in the Southern Hemisphere. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. The NZX 50 has closed the day down 24 points, it's now at 5,626. The Dow Jones is up 122. To the exchange rates, and the Kiwi dollar is up against the Australian, but we are down against the greenback, the yen, the pound and the euro. A local woman has just won Age Concern New Zealand's Dignity Champion Award for Community. Margaret Dando of Age Concern Otago was recognised for establishing the Steady As You Go program, and she's here to tell us about her work. Good evening.
Good evening.
What is Steady As You Go?
Steady As You Go is a community-based, peer-led, ongoing, weekly exercise program to prevent falls in older people over 65.
And when did you set it up?
2003 the first classes began.
What prompted you to set it up?
Well, I was employed by Age Concern Otago to expand their existing program, which ended after 10 weeks.
And how has it grown since then?
Tremendously. In Dunedin now we have 42 classes, out in Otago another 15, so over 1,000 people in those programs, and they're led by 140 peer leaders. That's how we can have so many.
What benefits do participants get from the classes?
Well, it's twofold. There's the physical benefit and the social benefit. So physically they get better balance, they get better leg strength, they get more flexibility, general fitness, and socially there's that social connection which is very important for all of us, but especially older people, to prevent isolation and perhaps depression.
Tell us about some of the things that happen in the class to prevent falls.
Well, we practice balance exercises. And they're told little falls prevention tips every time, because there's a CD that they follow that has that all on it. There's balance exercises, there's strengthening exercises, flexibility, walking, etc. Yeah.
Now, you've been working for Age Concern Otago for some time. Tell us about the other work that you do.
Well, the other work I do is in the Tai Chi area. We have 14 classes in Tai Chi in Dunedin and another 6 in Otago. So I also train and instruct Tai Chi as well as the Steady As You Go. Yes, so I train the peer leaders around Otago and further afield.
How does it feel to win the Champion Award?
Well, I was really so surprised, and when Robin Scott from Age Concern New Zealand phoned me, I almost fell out of my chair, which is not a good look for a falls prevention coordinator, so I was really surprised. Yes.
What's the most rewarding part of your work?
Well, I think that's almost a difficult question, but I think the most rewarding part is the fact that, and there was a quote that I received just today from a lady who had been to a class, and she said that it gives you a lift, and it gives people a lift, and me too, a lift not only physically but also emotionally. And so if you can lift people's spirits, well, that's really rewarding.
Tell us about the support that older people need.
Well, I'll talk mainly about the health promotion, which is the area I work in, but in health promotion, older people need exercise, they need falls prevention, they need social connection, and they need nutrition. So we're really lucky in that Steady As You Go ticks 3 of those boxes. Yes, and outside that, Age Concern also delivers, it has a advocacy role and information and prevention of elder abuse.
Well, congratulations once again on the award. Margaret Dando of Age Concern Otago, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rebecca.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, students use creativity to encourage queer discussion, and we'll take a look at weather for the end of the working week.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all-black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Pallet fires are growing in popularity in Otago, with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pallet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Are you within your legal rights to take one life in order to save another? Welcome to the ambiguities of law. Because whilst the law may be clear, there is still room for both yes and no.
What? No!
The decision will depend on logical thinking and the art of argument. And this is what we learn at New Zealand's first and world-renowned law faculty.
You can stop now!
I'm Latafale, and this is my place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
McClellan Refrigeration is your one-stop shop for heat pumps in Dunedin. We have a range of heating, air conditioning and refrigeration solutions. We also have 20 years experience. McClellan Refrigeration, call us on 477 0088.
At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boys store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices are just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew, Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest, Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, you're guaranteed a treat.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Is a very tragic death, a very painful death, a very prolonged death, and certainly nothing that needs to happen.
It's not part of our anatomy that people like to think about that much, but actually we need to.
People don't know the symptoms. About half of people you ask don't know the symptoms of the disease, and that makes them very much at risk of dying from the disease or having a much poorer outcome, because the disease is very curable if it's caught early.
Welcome back. Local students are celebrating queer identity for Pride Week. They're holding a forum, an exhibition and a piece of theatre to create discussion. And they say there's still a lot to be done in the wider community.
A campaign for acceptance. These university students are creating a conversation by celebrating their gender and sexual identity. They say there's still a way to go in acceptance of the LGBT community, but recent law reforms and public figures are assisting the cause.
As soon as you get figureheads and public knowledge about things, you also sometimes get even more dissension. In saying that, in a positive sense, having those conversations and more people, for example, Caitlyn Jenner coming out has provided space for people to have conversations that are positive.
Local Pride Week celebrations include a film screening and a public forum. Students are also renting out an exhibition space for queer art. And a contemporary piece of theatre, more than a year in the making, is being showcased.
Drawing from a lot of queer mediums, well, mediums including queer people. We have dance, we have singing, all undergirded by this wonderful play that's been written by a former University of Otago playwright, Jess Green.
These students want to create more positivity and awareness for Dunedin's queer community. They say there's blatant homophobia and transphobia in the city, and they want to give people an opportunity to share their stories.
I don't really think there's anything more important that you can do than tell your stories. There's so little representation around that often sort of real people and the things that real people are doing can be the only chance you get to see people like yourself.
It's all about fostering pride for personal identity. As Pride Week comes to an end, advocates are hoping the conversation continues. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Saddle Hill residents are cleaning up the destruction caused by yesterday's fire as authorities dampen down hotspots to prevent flare-ups. Locals are lobbying the government to increase paid parental leave by another 8 weeks, up to the 6-month mark. And fresh ideas from local healthcare staff have been pitched to a panel of judges in the Southern DHB's latest Innovation Challenge. It's time now to find out what's going to be on the pages of Friday's Otago Daily Times, and Phil Somerville joins us.
Yes,
Good
hi,
evening.
Rebecca. First up, the aftermath of the fire. We've got a few very strong stories. This particular one with this picture is about a volunteer fireman who battled to extremely hot temperatures and raging flames to save a house. And after it, not surprisingly, he was exhausted and carried off to hospital with heat exhaustion.
Oh, goodness.
And there's a story about a woman praising her neighbours. The neighbours rushed in and grabbed them and got them out before a raging ball of fire came through. So there's quite a lot in that fire, and it's certainly a big thing. Got another story about the 4chan Facebook page, the one where the threat to the university was made. Story of a student recently being bullied on that site. Also a story from Queenstown, which we normally wouldn't mention, but it's about the gondola, and the gondola's been there a long time and we all love the gondola. Well, there are plans underway. It'll take a few years, but to double the capacity of it. So that's going to be interesting. And the editorial tomorrow, it's looking at the issue, and you can see both sides of it, this issue of the DCC awarding contract to a gang leader, and is that a good thing or is it not? That's an interesting issue, is it not?
It certainly is. I'll look forward to reading that one tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Phil. Time now for local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
And here is today's city view. It's taken of the fountain at Glenfalloch Gardens. And around the city at 3 o'clock today, not very warm at all, not compared to yesterday, that's for sure. 8 degrees in the central city, 7 at the Gardens, 10 out on the Tyree. Well, to the situation, and a west to southwest flow continues to blow over the country, while an anticyclone moves slowly across the Tasman Sea. To the forecast for some of the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow, southwesters with some cloud for Invercargill and Te Anau. Fine in Gore with southwesters there, and a fine day awaits Alexandra with a high of 18 degrees. A fine with westerlies in Queenstown. It's northeast winds for Oamaru, but otherwise fine, and a fine day awaits both Wanaka and Twizel, both expecting 18 degrees. In Dunedin tonight, remaining, turning fine, hopefully, fining up, but cool with a low of 7, which isn't far from our high today, is it? Sunny tomorrow with nor'easters and a high of 16. And on Saturday, westerlies freshening, high cloud increasing and a high of 17. And finally, to the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information. Low tide tomorrow morning is at 25 to 9 and high tide follows at 25 past 2. And fishing conditions look reasonable tomorrow morning, particularly at 25 to 11. Good luck. And that is all from the team here at 39 Dunedin News for Thursday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.